Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.
Right from our headquarters right here in Lagos, Nigeria, we welcome you to Enterprise Morning on Enterprise TV. I am Henry Igwibike. Right now, we will be going to our newspaper headlines, but just before that, I would love that you do please visit our website daily at www.enterprisetvnews.com and also like, comment, and follow on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7 and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Enterprise TV7. With me in the studios to have us sit down and discuss what we have on the newspaper is Dr. Victor Ohai. He is a public affairs and analyst. You're welcome.
Thank you for having me
to Enterprise Morning today. So let's quickly go to our newspaper headlines, and starting off, we have from the Daily Trust newspaper, and the big story there says EFCC grills ZENITH, JAIZ, PROVIDUS bank CEOs, and the writer there says it's a routine invitation, say bank officials. PDP demands suspension of TUNJI-OJO over 438 million naira contract. And on the top slip of the same newspaper, we have TINUBU orders reduction of official on federal government trips by 60%, that is. And also 8 motorists killed in Borno landmine explosion. Agric Ministry not in charge of rice palliative distribution, spokesman. And on the down slip of the same newspaper, we have Niger junta releases Bazoum's son 167 days after coupist needs to do more. A diplomat. Doctor, let's talk about this issue of EFCC inviting the Zenith Bank and JAIZ Providus CEOs. I guess it's related to the EDU case. And why do you think this is coming now? And what is the effect on our financial sector in Nigeria?
Well, you know, the other leg of corruption in Nigeria is the bank. There's certain amounts you cannot move, and there's certain things that cannot happen unless you have higher authority. Politicians are in cahoots with bankers to loot and to steal. And for the bankers, there's pressure to make the books look good for their shareholders and for the balance sheet at the end of the year. So what is happening is, I mean, it's an age-long marriage, you know, between politicians and bankers in this country. So I am definitely not surprised. If you hear, there are so many ministries and parastatals and departments that have so many secret bank accounts, so many of them. This cannot happen unless there's insider collusion. And at certain levels, the MDs will be the ones to say, look, authorized, you know. So I'm glad that this is happening, and I hope they don't get away with it. I certainly hope they don't get away with it, because if there is no punishment for bad behavior, it will persist. If there's anything I think this government should do, it is to make a show of fighting corruption, because the level of corruption in especially very recent administrations is like, it's just a cesspit of corruption, really. And I think that while they cannot eradicate it, if they can make a show of of fighting it, then maybe it may just help build public confidence in them.
Exactly. So let's talk about this issue of tension in Plateau State as Supreme Court reserves a judgment on governorship dispute. Now, we understand the reason this is coming, but do you think there's reason for the governor to be scared of the future?
Yes. Unfortunately, the polls are no longer decided by the people anymore at the ballot box. It is now the courts that determine who our governors are and who our elected officials should be. It's like, you have heard the famous listen, go to court. And when you hear go to court, it means there's somebody already waiting there. People will do everything by all means. So in this case, two things are likely to happen. Is either they say, look, you will do our bidding, we might let you stay there, but you will work for us. And people have used it to negotiate. You stay there but work for the presidency. I'm just using that as an example. Or you'll be there if you work in our interest. It doesn't have to be presidential. It could be other interests. And so you find a situation where politicians become heavily compromised. Governors are there as lame dogs. Supposedly elected by the people, but beholden to a few. That, unfortunately, is the situation. In the case of Plateau, it doesn't matter whether he won or not. We know, especially those of us who know the politics in Plateau, know that Plateau at every time has always been a PDP state. It has not changed.
Yeah, true.
Even when APC was there, it was still a PDP state, you know. But the powers that be, you know, the people may speak, but the courts will have their way. Unfortunately, that is what is happening. So I'm really afraid for the governor. He has every reason to be afraid. So unless he wants to compromise with them, but I doubt, I don't know. He cannot sleep easy right now. And it doesn't matter what the people's opinion is. You know, there are some vested interests, and that is what may speak.
All right, let's also step into this, still on EDU's case. It came as a big surprise to Nigerians when Minister TUNJI-OJO was indicted in that particular case. And right now, PDP is demanding that he equally should be suspended. Now, we understand what he is doing, the incredible job he is doing with immigration and so on and so forth. But do you think that is good enough to get him indicted or possibly get him ousted of the office?
I mean, you can be efficient at your job, but if you steal, you're a thief.
So you mean...
So, you have asked me a question, you know. It's not him, I'm just talking generally.
Oh, okay, good.
You can be efficient at your job. I mean, you can take this to the bank. Abacha was one of the best rulers this country had. He managed his economy, and he stole more than any other person. The Naira was stabilized throughout when he was in government, in spite of all the sanctions. He was a ruthless and efficient ruler, manager of the economy.
Resources.
But out of resources. But he was also a damn good thief. You understand what I'm saying? So, Ojo has started out well, but like many of them, you know, it could just be that he has been a victim of passport and he just feels never again, I want to make sure that this thing works, and he happens to be in the right place to make it work. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? If the roads to my street are not good and it has caused accidents and caused me pains, if I get into a position to fix the roads, the first thing I will do is fix those roads, but it may not stop the person, not me, from stealing. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I listened to him on what do you call it? I listened to him on channels, and it just sounded to me like, and I'll put it this way, the way it sounded to me, I'm not necessarily saying he is, but it sounded to me like a very clever thief, you know, who already had planned, who had already planned
the escape route.
Yes, he has his alibi way ahead. And you know, every clever criminal will prepare a very clever alibi to free himself. I mean, he wasn't answering the question, he was telling the anchor, he said, the question that should be asked is this. The question is, was the job done? The question is, you know, was the company... I mean, I begin to look at that and laugh. And do they think that we are fools? Do they think that we are... I mean, how can you be telling us what questions to ask you? When the question is clear, you know, this is your company. And you say, well, I resign. And he now says, there's something that says that because I'm not on the board, the company cannot... I mean, it is clear, very, very clear, as day is day and night is night, that he's not, that his hands are deep in the cookie jar there. It's so clear. And the reason is simple, you know, it's your company, whether you say you are there or not, it's like the president, his personal company coming to do business, he has an interest in it, you know, substantial interest. You know, the thing is that you may not be a director because you have, the law says you should not be a director in a company. But it does not stop, the law, I mean, the way it is clearly, it does not say that you do not have, because clearly, under, and I'm on the board of several companies. Now, so when you look at corporate governance, if you have substantial interest in a company that is coming to bid for a job and all that, you must declare from the very beginning what those interests are. And you cannot sit over it. It may be in a different ministry, but the truth is that he's in this administration and he has an interest in that company. He cannot begin to tell us that because he's not a director. You don't have to be a director. If I own 90% of the shares of a company, why do I have to be a director? I already own controlling shares. I can put a stooge there. I can put anybody there to sit on the board on my behalf. So these are the things he's not telling Nigerians. He's thinking Nigerians are stupid. We're not dumb. We're not stupid. Let him go and answer to the president. And let us see how the president is going to cover him up. He's not the only one. Let BETTA go down. If that woman will not go down without a fight. Women, they fight dirty. Unless they're going to give her, and perhaps that's what they might do, a soft landing. Or give her a big settlement. Otherwise, heads will roll. That woman
in less than 1 year of our administration. Let's go to the Nation newspaper, and the big story there says World Bank global economy set for weakest performance in 3 decades, and 37 billion naira, 585 million naira probe Sadia Edu barred from traveling. And the rider there says EFCC impounds international passport, 3 banks MD squeezed, Interior Minister at the Aso Villa, no sacred cow, anti-graft battle, says Olukoyede. And on the top slip of the same newspaper, we have Rivers Assembly waits for Barra's 2024 budget orders. Soldier in trouble for insulting Sanwo-Olu. Short thought mainland bridge worsens gridlock. Doctor, let's speak a bit about this issue. A couple of days back, Sanwo-Olu, there was a viral video of Sanwo-Olu seen, you know, trying to do the job, I guess, that should ordinarily be given to agencies, you know, where he stopped motorists that they were applying one way and all, and it was all over the place. Now, as a result of that, soldiers came up and said 1 or 2 things, and right now the Nation newspaper is saying those soldiers are in trouble for insulting Sanwo-Olu. Do you think that is in any way fair to these young serving military officers?
While there must be respect for constituted authority, I listened to what that soldier said, and quite frankly, what stood out for me in everything I said is that we have no respect for our military in this country. And I join in saying that. In other countries, abroad, you talk about veterans and the military, because these people serve and die. I don't know any politician that is serving or dying for Nigeria. Not one. What that young man said, he was not the one on the highway. Forget the fact that he's not. If someone like me had said it, I don't think someone would. Why would he come? Would he come and pick me up? What did the guy say that is not true? These guys are suffering everything. It's true that, okay, fine, you can do what you want to do with the young man, like anybody else. Nobody is above the law. But this guy was embittered in his heart, and there's no respect for the military as an institution. When they go, they go to Zambisa, they go to all these places, do the job that the police should be doing. their organs will, let me use film language, will edit their allowances. If you know what I mean.
And add some transition in it.
You understand? They will not give them what they are due. These guys are slaughtered on a daily basis. You know, no thank you for what they do. And then you come and begin to treat them like, that young man, there's substance in what he has said. And he should be considered. The chief of army staff, as far as I'm concerned, just paying to the gallery, or not vex you, not mind the young man and all that, sacrifice him. Well, it's all right. They may do that. But it doesn't stop the fact of what the young man said. Let us begin to treat our military with some respect and dignity in this country. It's important. For me, that was just a shoe. There are more important things to do than going there to arrest one soldier doing one way. Are the people in government themselves not doing one way? The impunity that they display on a daily basis, who is holding them accountable? The money they steal on a daily basis, who is holding them accountable? I'm not going to sit down and then begin to fight for any politician and begin to say, you know, they say it's not respected. Do politicians respect Nigerians? Look at the bags of rice. Did you receive any bag of rice? Did you cite any?
Not at all.
That they say they shared as palliative. Did you cite any at all? Did you even, they were earmarked. Did you earmark any? Bags of rice. A few people, at least one representing my constituency, displayed it openly, showed the trailers of bags of rice that they gave them. The one in Lagos, did you see anyone? At least you live in Lagos. The ones in Ogun, did you see any?
Wasn't it what went down with EDU, because the money she was supposed to, it was actually meant for Lagos, Ogun, Cross River State.
No, those are bags of rice that the president shared during Christmas.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm talking about. The humanitarian ministry is clearly what it is, a funnel for siphoning money. What is humanitarian? Is there a human face what especially in last 2 administrations, what we've been through? This is just, that ministry is what it is. It's just a ministry for stealing money. Just throw money in there and use it. Anything can be called humanitarian. You saw your former vice president going about to the market sharing money. Who does that anywhere in the world? Say traders' money. Yeah? Then what they call school feeding money and all of that. I don't know. I'm just sick and tired, you know, of the people that are in government in this country.
But my question is, do you really think that it is in any way going to affect the perception of Sanwo-Olu in Lagos, in Nigeria, and internationally?
Well, all this playing to the gallery, because that's what it is to me, you know. You arrest people, for me, it shouldn't even have been, okay, you can call it a media. So they made it a media affair from time to time. He does a good job, no doubt. Let me not take it away from him. He does a good job in Lagos, and I know that, and I give him kudos. But there's some things we should not bring ourselves down to. For instance, at that point, he could have just instructed all his people, arrest them, and continue going your way.
Exactly.
You know, you don't have to make it a media affair as such. When you bring yourself down to that level, then the ordinary soldier can talk to you anyhow. Because they are feeling the pinch. For them, that is not the issue. The issue is what is the price of food in the market today, you know? So I don't think he should bring himself down to that level. It's like the former president who was going to share money in the market. There are more important things.
Exactly. Yeah. True. All right, finally, let's move to our last daily for today, and it's coming from the Daily Independent. And the big story there says, outcry trails increase of aviation agencies' contribution to TSA. And the writer there says, stakeholders warn 50% TSA may impact the passengers' safety and comfort. And on the top slip of the same newspaper, we have federal government ASU fashion out modalities for averting industrial crisis. Federal government constitutes 8-man committee to probe degree mills. On the downslip of the same newspaper, we have TINUBU cuts overhead number of officials for trip by 60%. We will tackle pressure on foreign exchange, says the federal government. Doctor, let's take a look at the federal government and ASU trying to fashion our modalities for averting industrial crisis. Are we trying to see the federal government allegedly maybe creating a mole in ASU so as to avert whatever sort of industrial crisis that might happen in the future, just to save its name? Do you see that in the offing?
And they are way. But that is not the issue right now. When you create a mole and you try to divide, you're only putting off the evil day. Because the truth is, if I feel the pain, I feel the pain. The more you divide me, the more disgruntled I become, and then the more the matter increases. So persist. We have seen the government, what they do, instead of looking at the matter and the issues and resolving them, what they try to do is, divide and rule, So there's that. But I would like to say, it's funny if I say this, but I think us, we should go and learn from our parents. Let me explain before you laugh. Our real parents are the teachers in primary school and secondary school. Because that's when we were children. You understand what I'm saying? Our formative years. At the level of ASU, you and your teachers are almost mates. So they are not your parents.
True.
They are hardly your parents, except the older professors and all that. Now let me come back to what I'm trying to say. Our parents appear to be wiser. Notice, NUT, do you hear any problems anymore? How did they solve the NUT problem? Strikes, we used to have strikes with the teachers all the time. It was persisting, continuing. Every time teachers strike, primary schools, secondary schools and all that. When was the last time you heard that? I don't know what they did right, but perhaps, ASU and the government should go and find out what deal the teachers and how they were able to resolve this. That's why I said they should go back to our parents and learn. These problems will persist because of pride. Both sides are too arrogant. I don't think it's the money involved that is the issue. Because even what the National Assembly allocates to itself alone, and some of the frivolities I've seen in the budget, particularly this year's budget, because I had a copy, I took time to really go through, and I saw too many frivolities, too many areas where monies are allocated that are totally, unnecessary. You just see that they're just drain pipes, places where people will just want to use to steal money. If they want to resolve the ASU problem, just like that they can do. But is there a will? And it is difficult right now because the politicians, their children are all in schools abroad.
True.
For those who have children at school age. Everybody, they all want their kids to go abroad. I mean, those whose kids are not in secondary school abroad, as soon as they are graduating, as soon as they are passing out of secondary school, they all have houses abroad already, so they relocate. So they are going to Canada, the US, the UK, and wherever else it is that they go to. And so when you talk about ASU strike, it doesn't bother them because their children, they don't feel it. Their children are not affected. They are not involved. When the lecturers talk, they wonder, what are you talking about? For your information, a professor in this country, the salary of a professor, it doesn't matter how old he is not up to 500, it's 400 and something thousand. Go and verify. 400 and something thousand, that's what a professor. Now, check that, that's about 400.
Less than $400.
Yes. That's what a professor, that's a take home of a Nigerian professor.
In a month, in 30 days.
So in a year is about $4,000, less than $5,000, which is not what even a lecturer will take abroad for a month. And yet, they say, what are they talking about? Why are they being unreasonable? Are they the only ones? And when the brain drain starts and they begin to jackpot, then people say, they should be patriotic. When the doctors decide to leave, you say they should be patriotic. I want to stop medical students after graduating from going abroad. Who does that? Are these people from another planet? Do they have a soul in them? It's easy for them to allocate so much to themselves. Look at what the National Assembly's budget is. Look at how much they allocate to themselves. So it's okay for them, but when others say, no, people should be reasonable now. When workers are asking for increase in wage, you are looking at them and say, what are you talking about? Even at 100,000 naira a month, that is less than $100. You know that, right? So that's about $9-something for a month. And then they don't pay that. And let me tell you how bad it is. I'm sorry that it's like we're talking about politicians today, but it's just a cycle, a mindset, why these things will persist. Even money that is allocated to them. You know, you give them money for stewards, and this civil servant, top civil servant, and all that. So you collect money in your salary for stewards, cook, and the rest, so that you pay directly. Upon all the money they make, they still edit the money that belongs to these people, those drivers, stewards, and the rest. They still steal from them.
To add to their own.
I don't know if you get what I'm saying. They steal from the money. So the government has given you so much for steward, for cook, for driver, and you should change them with all the money that you make.
Just take a general view, on the aviation industry and the high cost of transportation in that sector, especially with stakeholders saying that the federal government is overtasking them. Do you think there's something the federal government is not seeing, especially as regards the importance? A very good example, when the federal government was talking about slashing 50% for the holidays, they said that aviation is not involved in it because anyone who can afford the ticket for an airline is not poor. Do you think there's a sense in it, especially with concerns?
Let me tell you why I don't have that much sympathy for the aviation sector. I'm sorry to say. In this country, whatever goes up hardly comes down. Aviation inclusive. I think that there's a simple solution to crashing down the price of aviation, of tickets and all that. License more people, throw it open, let there be more competition. You understand? When they begin to go empty.
But is it about, do you think that is solving the remote problem?
No, let me come to that.
Gas and all of that.
No, leave gas matter, leave gas matter, leave gas matter. For me, I see aviation as a clique, as a aviation industry as a cartel. As far as I'm concerned, this is me talking. Because they have no respect for passengers. Many of them, even the rights of passengers, they don't respect it. They don't keep to it. There's so much impunity in that sector. I think that they should increase the number of airlines, let the competition increase, let the price crash. And even if they are giving them 50%, these guys are so clever. If they were going to charge 100, if they were charging 50 before, they will now say it's 100. So they will take from government, they will still take from the passengers. You understand? So I don't have sympathy for them. That's the truth. And I'm glad that they didn't do it. It's not because of the passengers, because the truth is, we could all do with the palliative, matter of fact. You understand? But they are a cartel. So they don't have my sympathy. Me, as a person, they don't have my sympathy.
Even for the sake of Nigerians who are the customers and...
No, you don't understand. It's not a matter of sake of Nigerians. Those guys they're a cartel. They're a cartel. They're a cartel. Open the space. Let there be more competition. The price will crash. You will now get the real price of flying. They are there complaining every day. None of them has closed down. You know, they keep bleeding us. No matter what you do for them, they agree. Even if the dollar comes down to 1 naira to the dollar today, those people you see in that sector, the price you see, they have tested blood, if you know what I mean by blood. They cannot be domesticated again. I'm talking about like a wild animal that was domesticated before or grew up under this. Once it tastes blood, like, it will not be the same again. True. So once they have tasted that money, they will not go back, like many other sectors. So they don't have my sympathy. What I would do if I were in a position is open up, give more licenses, have as many airlines as possible, let there be competition. Then water will find its level, and then you will know the real price of time.
Exactly. I would have loved that we continue on this, but for the want of time, I think we have to call it a wrap. I'd love to say thank you so very much, Dr. Victor Hai, for being part of our morning show today. And when we return, TINUBU Court's entourage on foreign trips to 20 officials, but how much hope does this inspire? In a bit, please don't go anywhere.